Hello there. Once again, it's Anton from Anton Bay. And, you know, ever since I started making videos, I kind of wanted to do a video of my EXO Squad toys. It's never happened. It takes a lot of space. It's a lot to dig out. EXO Squad stuff is one thing that I've never really been big on displaying. And the majority of it has lived in closets or in totes and stuff like that. But I got it all out, so I thought I could show it to you and kind of see what I have. We'll do this as best I can. First, I had a bag of, I'm just going to pan over here, just tons of accessories, fusion packs, armor, weapons, pistols, all sort of things, a lot of jump trooper armors and pieces. And then I have, let me set that back there. Most of the figures, I drew on his face when I was young. Raymond Longfeather, Nara Burns, Typhonus, or no, that's Phaeton. Yeah, that's Phaeton. And General Shiva, one of the coolest of all the generals. So the figures themselves, if you've never seen an EXO Squad figure, they're not very big, but really nice articulation for what they are. I mean, you got mega ball joints at the shoulder, upper bicep cut, a single jointed elbow, no wrist rotation, no ab crunch. Head turns about like so. And you get these nice ball joints at the hip, and then they move at the knee. Same on the Terrans, pretty much all the same. And they have to be pretty movable because each one of them rides in their E-frames. I thought this was funny, I found in my box, I cut out a few of the cards that came with the packaging, on the box. I have a Rita Torres, a Phaeton, Sean Napier, and a Nora Burns. And I wish that I had saved all of these, but I did not. Anyway, that's one of the things I have. So, as you can probably tell looking here, some of these are doubles, but I'm just going to run through them because some of them are more complete than others. None of these are pristine. Maybe a few of them are totally complete, some of the later stuff that I picked up. But a lot of these are things that I picked up and I was younger and these got played with. So, some of these got some pretty massive battle scars on them. I'm going to start with Wolf Bronsky in my favorite E-frame, this guy right here. Now, I cannot remember the models of all the E-frames. I remember that this was a ground assault E-frame, but there's another name for them. I can't remember the actual models. And if you go through my box of parts, I probably have a lot of the accessories and stuff that clip on. However, I know I don't have very many of his missiles because he ran these tight yellow missiles out of there. And all of these things had lots of missiles and stuff that would fire out. So I just thought that was really cool about them. But when you look at these, how they open up and then are still articulated. I mean, these things were designed amazingly. The amount of work that went into these designs. And the fact that these things were $10. I loved them. They sold them in a box. It was nice. Anyway. I'm gonna just kind of go through them here. Some of these are very dusty. The ones that have been out on a shelf are very dusty. And then some of them have just been in a dusty closet for a long time. But this is Sean Napier with his Police Interceptor E-frame. Always one of my least favorite of all E-frame designs. I always thought this one looked so crappy. And as far as the figure goes, I mean, it looks like a motorcycle fairing on the front, and I don't know, just something about it, the way this moved and didn't always sync up, I thought looked kind of junky. And the fact that the arms are about the least articulated of all of them. I did like that it has this piston action for the actual blasters and stuff, so I thought that was cool. So this is a variation of Bronsky's E-frame. And it was a Wolf Bronsky E-frame, but it came with different arms and different accessories, but the base of it is pretty much the same, except it comes with a roll bar, which I thought looked really cool. And this was some sort of Earth Digger E-frame, and And the Bronski that came with it was wearing black instead of brown. So that's that. This is one of a few Phaeton E-frames that I have. And that is not Phaeton in there. That is Thrax. Not sure what Thrax is doing in there. Thrax pilots a red insectoid E-frame. But for some reason, he's in one of these command E-frames. Probably one of my favorite designs of all the E-frames. Well, I mean, Bronski's is my all-time favorite, but definitely for the Neo Sapiens, this is my favorite Neo Sapien E-frame. Which is probably why Thrax is in there, because he was one of my favorites. But just a cool thing. That pops up, fired multiple missiles. This, when you straighten the arm, would fire a missile. And this has a grabber claw, which, how cool is that? You just push the button on the back. All of the Hydros, like, cycle and move. These toys were amazing. Here's another Bronski. This one he's got his... Okay, there's the black outfit Bronski. A little bit different than the brown outfit Bronski. And then he fires his grappling hook, which I can't remember if this still works. It does not. It does not work. I don't think this other torpedo works either. But when that's full, that looks pretty cool. And it looks like the springs are out of that one. So, not perfect. Like I said, these have had a long, mostly rough life. And I have a lot of duplicates, but here's a JT Marsh. This JT Marsh has been shot in the face. That happens sometimes with figures. Life is hard. His E-frame, I always thought was cool, but always gave me this, I don't know, kind of, at the same time, a little bit junky look. Like, that one's got some extra features, but it's not gonna age well. Like an old 90s Cadillac. But a cool E-frame. Here's another one I've got of the same type of E-frame. This one's a little more stripped down. The springs are gone. All the accessories are gone on this one. But still a beautiful E-frame. There you go. There's a command E-frame. This one has been shot through the window. It's Phaeton driving this one, and that's who's supposed to be driving it. And it looks like I have two Phaeton figures, so that's kind of nice. This one, the claw works a little better, and I'm pretty sure it will... No, it won't fire. But it does still have one missile left in the top. And if I look in my pile of accessories, I can slide in the other two. And this one, only the center one fires, which it does not anymore. Oh, maybe it does. Yeah. And then the other two just hold it. They're basically just, I just lost that. They just hold the missiles and you gotta move them over manually, but still a cool thing. And I think the first thing everybody loses out of these is the fusion packs. Up in the top corner, it's gone, so. Nara Burns E-frame. This is kind of a weird one, and this one has got some paint on it or some sort of scar damage that I don't think I did. This one is kind of crappy. I always kind of thought it was. They did this with a few of them. The legs don't move. So all of your super cool design, I mean, it's just straight leg. So it never felt as good to me, but you did get an active claw, wings that popped up and would recede back. And this one was classified as a little bit smaller. And the thing is Nara didn't pilot this one very often because she was usually riding with Marsala. So this is a variation on Alec de Leon's. This is one of the later release ones. I think I picked this up used at a thrift store somewhere. Missing basically everything, but still looks cool. The arms are totally different than the original and quite beefy and interesting looking. So I liked it. And he had, I think it was called, oh, what is Alec's E-frame? The Communications E-frame. Yeah, it's like all about radioing for help and being able to communicate and coordinate and everything like that. I always thought it was a pretty decent looking E-frame. I thought Alec was one of the cooler of the human characters. After Bronski, of course, he was the coolest. But he definitely had the cool 90s hair, and he had a pretty decent E-frame, so thought he was cool. This Typhonus, I remember this is the first one to ever break, and it broke a lot. And I think it has Avery Butler in there right now, but I think it's glued shut because the cockpit broke. Everything broke on it. It just got glued kind of back in place. But this was a pretty cool design. It was insectoid looking. And this was the one that you, if you could army build, this is the one you would want to army build. But I only recall ever seeing one Typhonus E-frame in my whole life. So I would have picked up more had I seen them. This is another Alec De Leon one. This one is a little bit rougher shape. It's missing some shielding and a part of the bracket has been smashed. That sounds like it's full of sand. It's definitely taken a beating. This one is, I think, one I picked up, I don't know, thrift store or a lot of other stuff. It's a little rougher shape. This is General Draconis, and oh look, Draconis is in there. So this is not a bad designed E-frame. It looks pretty neat. It does have the straight leg syndrome, which I wasn't happy about. But Draconis was, I mean, by far the most evil of all the generals, and narcissistic and insane. And he had a pretty cool looking E-frame. I do wish it was one that moved. And I hate the feet on this. I mean, they just look dopey. Here's another one, Draconis, that's a little bit rougher shape. Looks like he's missing a few things off the top. But it is a later release E-frame and was much harder to find. So when I saw it, I just must have got it, because even though it's rougher shape, I must have picked it up at some point. Looks like another Sean Napier, a little more intact, maybe. Looks like his missiles are here. But it does look like he's still got some bullet holes in the frame. So this is one of the rarest ones I think I ever came across. This is Rita Torres in her Sergeant's E-frame, which is a pretty damn cool E-frame. Even though it has the straight leg syndrome, it's still very well done. And she moved with it, and it doesn't give a lot away, so it actually works. But she was cool. Cool figure. And I know you're supposed to use the handles, but a lot of times I didn't, just because they're hard to put their hands on and set back up. And then here we got another Nara Burns E-frame. This one is more complete. This one has the drill in the hand, which I do think fires off. Yep, certainly does. So I got that. Kaz Takagi's E-frame, which comes apart in sections. I'm pretty sure if you look back through my old library, I did a video on this one, and this pops open, the front of the ship comes off. There's a lot going on with this particular ship, and even though he's got some warpage to it, this one's in pretty good shape, because this was probably one of the last EXO Squad things I ever would have bought new at the store. Pretty sure I picked up Kaz Takagi and Thrax at the same time. This would be Thrax. He is in there in the cockpit, and cool looking figure in and of his own right. But this ship bends in the middle like a head, which is odd. Your wings/feet bend all around. You've got toe claws, those extend. This front biter beak thing extends. These fire, these pop up. There was a lot going on with this thing, and it's got a panel. I know I have the other one somewhere in a box. I just kind of grabbed as much as I could. But yeah, this was a sweet toy. And these were later. I only ever saw these at Target, so I don't know what was going on anywhere else. But when you're getting ready for combat, I know they kind of bent these wings down and did different things where they could pop out for different kinds of attack. But they always had a swoopy bug look to them, and that's of course what they're going for, but I thought this thing was awesome back in the day. And then, yeah, the fact that it would bend down and do stuff like that, I just was crazy. This guy is very dusty. But that's kind of one of the things about living in New Mexico. You get dust on everything. Put that guy over there. This is another late release one. I can't even remember who piloted this thing. Maybe that guy? I don't remember. I don't even remember who that guy is. I think he was one of the pirates. So late, the pirates got E-frames. And this would have been one of those. They had a couple of different themes. I think there was a dragon one, and I know there was this fire rescue one, which I think this what this is yeah, fire rescue. But just an interesting, yeah, because he's got a freaking fire ladder on the back, which pops up and does all sorts of things like so. So that is what it is. And his fusion pack is still intact, which means he could fire this thing up. Just start driving it. The hatch extends lower, making it a little more simplified design, and they put the knees lower. This was their solution for fixing the straight-legged problem, was that they could put that like that and you wouldn't notice, but it does put the bend lower, but it doesn't maybe look as bad. Once again, your cylinders work, these tires roll. There was still a lot that went into the design of these things, and they were very cool. I thought they were very, very cool. We're gonna grab the Resolute out of the foreground here. I can't remember if I've ever done a video on this or not. This is probably the only version of the ship that I think they ever produced, and it's much smaller scale because the Resolute was enormous and just enormous. But if I can open the front, you can see they give you some little teeny tiny E-frames that go in there. To launch out of, which is pretty sweet. You get a JT Marsh E-frame, you get a Marsala E-frame. If I can get that to stand and bend right. Yeah, there you go. Pretty neat. They got little pegs, so you can just peg them in there. It is very tight and difficult to do, but you get the gist. This is pretty cool. This is a rare one. This is a hard piece of X-File or EXO Squad stuff to locate. It's supposed to have sounds. I don't think I have batteries in it because I don't like to keep batteries in stuff. Yeah, buttons on the top, that's how you activate it. I didn't put any batteries in it because I didn't want to like damage it. But as far as like giant starships, this was always one of my more favorite designs. Reach over here. We're gonna grab both these. This is, I can't remember what the name of the E-frame was, but it's typically Marsala's. He would pilot, Nara Burns would navigate and slash fire, I guess. That window is broken on this one. I don't know how I got two. I really don't. But these arms extend out, so you got some like range to like fire and attack. The legs would extend out. It's a little bit wider and squattier than it was in the cartoon. In the cartoon, these things were tall and just had a different height thing to them, but still a pretty cool E-frame all in all. And this one, I know they're missing a lot. I've got like shields and stuff in the accessory bin that pop in, but as you can guess, the second those get hit, they just go flying, and I didn't want to lose it, so it would have been something I pulled out. But you got a pretty cool Marsala in there. Keyboard flips up. I actually think, I can't remember if he rides in front and Nara rides in the back. I know it has this wind-up thing in the back that would shoot up like a radar dish and scan stuff, or a drone and come back in. And he does still have also his fusion pack, so that's pretty neat. We'll set him back over there, I guess. We'll put both of them back over there. Next up, we'll look at Maggie Weston. So this, I never liked this one on the show. I always thought it just looked kind of goofy. And I feel like it borrowed heavily from like Ripley's power loader thing that she used, which doesn't really bother me, but the execution is a little wonky. It just feels odd. It's not balanced very well. It's designed awkwardly. It has kind of geeky arms, like this welding arm, which I think if you, flexes in the back when you push that, welds. And I have covers. I have no idea where they are. They're in some sort of box of crap somewhere. And then of course you get Maggie Weston herself driving this thing. And I remember the Maggie Weston figure, good figure, looks great, but her hands for some reason were smaller than everybody else's, and I could not get her to hold a gun or do anything else. I always liked Maggie a lot. I liked the older seasoned gal and her relationship with Kaz, how she kind of looked out for him like a big sister. Just thought it was neat. Slide him back there. The last thing I got over here is this thing is in rough shape. Yep, this one has had a lot of battle damage. This is the E-frame that Shiva would have been piloting. Big top on here. It is since broken. It had squatty legs that didn't do anything. Like the legs just move like yay. So even with the legs, it was not that mobile of thing. And then the arms have broken off. I'm not sure exactly what the deal is. I have had much more breakage with Neo Sapien E-frames than any of the Terran E-frames. I don't know if they used a different plastic or what, but I just loved the cockpit of this thing. I thought it looked great, but yeah, this flips out and actually has a this little guy, which mounts into it, that it releases like a probe or a drone. So it hides up in there. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, it's very broke, but it still sits in my collection because I can't bring myself to throw it away, even if it's broken. So that is my EXO Squad stuff. It's probably not all of it. I probably have a few more like little tiny pieces here and there, but for the most part, that's going to be it. One of the figures I was really looking for, because I was like, I want that figure, is Colleen O'Reilly, the jump trooper who wore this and had like, these were her leg boots and stuff like that. Can't find that figure anywhere. Wish I knew where it was, but haven't been able to turn it up. It's just a nice, pretty little red-headed figure. And I know it was a love interest of JT Marsh. It was just one of those figures I wish I could find, but for some reason, can't. I'm gonna stick these guys back in here so you can kind of look at them in one big old cool mess again. But that is pretty much all I got to say. This video is plenty long enough. So, if you have any X-Files, or, EXO Squad toys, please let me know in the comments. I never have met anybody else who collected these. So if you collected these, I know a lot of people love the show, but a lot of people don't have the toys. They were kind of pricey for back in the day. So if you got them, if you collected them, if you know them, if you have an extra Colleen O'Reilly laying around that you could just throw in an envelope my way, I'll take that. Thank you. Anyway, that's the figures. That's everything I got. That's my story. And I thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate if anybody has stuck around this long through the whole thing. Great. I will catch you guys later. Thank you. Bye.